तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are trying to study and understand and feel the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And we have up till now seen first 4 meetings of Master Mahasaya with Thakur. And in those 4 meetings, Master Mahasaya was not staying in his own house, but he was staying in his elder sister's house in Varanagar. And Varanagar is in between Calcutta and Dakshineshwar. It was easier for him to go. And on the last day, he asked Sri Ramakrishna whether there will be more singing today. And Sri Ramakrishna said, no, but you can do one thing, you should do one thing. In a few days, I am going to Balram Babu's house, Balram Basu's house. Do you know Balram Basu? He said, I will find out. He stays in Bospada. And then he had come back again to say that he may be a rich man, etc. Thakur said, no, don't think like that. Take my name and they will take you to me. So, keeping that up, Master Mahashaya's approach gone to Balram's house. So, now here, still Master has not picked up his diary properly. And so, there is a little mix-up of the date and reference. And then, 1 or 2 prasangas also he has described without any date. And from Vidyasagar Keshav Sen comes. Yes. So, that is a lot of background he has given. So, Sri Ramakrishna goes to Keshav Sen's house in 2nd April 1882. From here we'll get all the dates. So now we have come to Balaram's house and we have to know something about Balaram. Sri Ramakrishna had appealed to Divine Mother that I do not want to remain as a dry sadhu. You keep me in Bengali, Rase Bose Thakbo. Rase Bose Thakbo. It is impossible to translate this. Some people think, keep me in enjoyment and fun. But that is impossible for Thakur to pray. So we have to understand this philosophically. what is dry sadhu and what is the rasa-vasa sadhu. Now, generally, the sannyasis following Shankar's interpretation of Vedanta lay so much stress on the transcendent aspect of Brahman that they become dry in their behavior. Because the world is unreal. They have nothing to do with the world. And so, this is called the dry sadhu. On the other hand, there are sannyasis who very well know that Brahman is transcendent as well as immanent. Brahman is beyond everything and Brahman itself is everything. And if Brahman itself is everything, their view of the world is very different from these dry sadhus. For them, world is not a place of enjoyment, but world is nothing but manifestation of Brahman itself. Please note this difference clearly. Shankar has emphasized the Nirguna aspect of Brahman. But in many places we can find he lays equal emphasis on the immanent part. But his emphasis is without any doubt on the Nirguna Brahman or Brahman which is transcendent over the world or which implies that the world is absolutely false. And so, those who follow him become dry sadhus. But at vital points, because Brahman, Shankar cannot make Brahman. Brahman's real nature is Brahman's real nature. He might emphasize one aspect over the other. But the real nature of Brahman, we can get only from Upanishads. And in the Upanishads, continuously we find every Upanishad that Brahman is transcendent as well as immanent. Brahman is beyond everything. Brahman itself appears as everything. Now, if Brahman itself appears as everything, then one takes equal interest in the apparent world. One takes equal interest in the apparent world. It does not make the world real. But Brahman itself appears as the world. And so, in this apparent world, instead of calling it unreal, they call it apparent world. An appearance of what? Of Brahman. So they have equal interest in Brahman which appears as this world. This is called Rasa Vasa Thakbo. I will stay immersed in bliss of Brahman. Rasa Vaisa is the declaration of Upanishads. Rasami eva labdha anandi bhavati. A man becomes blissful only by experiencing this rasa, which is Brahman. So rasa is the source of happiness. And that is the very nature of Brahman. And so Thakur wanted in his life to manifest fully the real nature of Brahman. And that makes a tremendous departure from the orthodox or Shankarite Vedanta. Not in the nature of truth, but in emphasis. Now, if everything in the world, I remember here, Sri Ramakrishna's own disciple, trained and made by him, Mahapurush Maharaj. And about Mahapurush Maharaj, another disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda ji, in the English biography of Mahapurush Maharaj, Vigyan Swamiji has written the preface or introduction. And in the very first sentence he says, Mahapurush Maharaj was absolutely unconcerned and supremely concerned about the world. Now understand. He was absolutely unconcerned and supremely concerned about the world. So this Thakur's disciple shows what Thakur wanted in his life. Now, once you accept, once you decide that you will not be the dry sadhu, then you have to live in the life. And if you live in the life with the experience of Brahman, then you do require for your maintenance some requirements. Especially food to sustain the body. And so, when the Divine Mother accepted this request of Thakur, she told him that 4 suppliers of necessities have been sent to the world along with you. And the third appears to be Balram Bose. Mathur Babu, Shambhu Malik, for a few days, Mani Sen of Kamarati, but no, not Kamarati, Penati. Madhu Sen of Paniati, but he is not counted as a Rasadar because it was for a very few days before Shambhu took up. And after Shambhu's passing away, we find first Balram Bose the first in this category. And Thakur has mentioned also somewhere that Balram appears to be half Rasadar. So, 4 are not 4 persons anyway. But Balram Basu is one of the suppliers of need of Sri Ramakrishna. Balram Basu came from a devout. We must think a little of Balram Basu here. Balram Basu came from traditionally devout Vaishnava family. And he wanted to live in Puri always. He came to Calcutta. His brothers, cousin brothers, did not like his staying in Puri and always mixing with sadhus and Jagannath Dev. So they devised some means. They made a house in Calcutta and asked Balram to take care of that house. That's Puri. But what happens when a devotee is a true devotee? The people may think to obstruct his devotion, but that very action grows his devotion. And so in Balram, when he came to Calcutta, he was sorry for leaving Puri. But immediately he came to know about Sri Ramakrishna, and visiting him, he did not feel sorry for anything. And he became supremely devoted to Sri Ramakrishna. That is Balram Bose. And Sri Ramakrishna had to go to Calcutta for the sake of his devotees who could not go to Dakshineshwar. And so Balram's house was the place Thakur used to go. Maximum. He might go here and there, but maximum was Balram's house. So this is Balram's house. And that is why Thakur has so confidently told Master Mahashaya, there is no question of rich or poor. You take my name and they will bring you to me. So it is this Balram Bose where Master Mahashaya has come. Now, there are lot of mix-up in this, that visit. About 8 o'clock in the morning, you have Bengali in the hand, na? And it says 8 in the night. But the English translators have judged that this incident must have happened in the morning. Okay? Because Master is not yet diary bound. So we are getting all this. About 8 o'clock in the morning, Sri Ramakrishna went as planned to Balram Bose's house in Calcutta. Heading of the chapter is in the company of devotees. And date given is March 11, 1882. It was the day of Dolapur Yatra. Now first, non-Bengalis have to explain what is Dol Yatra. And this also is wrong. Because the almanacs tell us that that year Dol Yatra was on 4th of March. In the Bengali, in the bracket it is mentioned Krishna Shashti Tithi. Shashti of the 6th day of the dark fortnight. So what is Dol Yatra? Throughout India, except Bengal or Vaishnava influenced place, it is called Holi, Holi Purnima. And there are lot of stories about that Holi. In Bengal, we don't find much importance given to Holi in those days. And the day is celebrated as Krishna and Radha being swung in swings. Because it is still the spring season, Valentine's Day also comes in that season, and all sorts of romanticism grows in that season. Now, in the idea of divine romanticism, Krishna and Radha together are made to swing in the swings. So that is Dola means swing. Yatra is not a pilgrimage, Yatra is a religious festival. So that is Dol Yatra. But this day, Holi or Dol Yatra has been found by consulting the almanac that was on 4th October, 4th March. Now, because in Bengali, Shashti is mentioned, automatically it becomes clear that it is not Dol Yatra. Because Dol Yatra is on Purnima, the full moon day. So, that errors are still pursuing, because from the April, we will get perfect narrations. About 8 o'clock in the morning, Sri Ramakrishna went as planned to Balram Bose's house in Calcutta. It was the day of the Dol Yatra. Ram, Manomohan, Rakhal, Nitya Gopal, and other devotees were with him. Later on, Master says he did not know anybody. He had become acquainted only with Narendra. Then he must have asked for their names and noted. Because he noticed them, and we must think about these people also. Ram and Manu Mohan were cousins. In the Indian language, Mausere bhai. That means their mothers were sisters. And they were the first being influenced by Keshav Sen, came to Thakur and became firm devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. So the beginning of Sri Ramakrishna's own circle of devotees starts from Ram and Manu Mohan. So that is Ram and Manu Mohan. And the full names are Ramchandra Datta and Manu Mohan Mitra. And then is mentioned Rakhal. And about Rakhal, a footnote is given. A beloved disciple of the Master, later known as Swami Brahmananda. So Rakhal means the first president of the Ramakrishna. About Rakhal also, let us think a little. One day Thakur had a divine vision that the Divine Mother is keeping a small boy in his lap and telling, "This is your son." And Thakur got tremendously agitated and told that Divine Mother, "I have no connection with even my body. How do you talk of my son?" Because son means wife, sex, son. So how can I have a son? Then the mother immediately explained to him, no, not son in a physical sense, but in the spiritually mental sense. That means that boy will always feel as if he is your son and you are his mother, not father. So this was the relation. And when Rakhal came, Sri Ramakrishna immediately recognized him. Yes, this is the boy who I have seen. And he was, in Swami Vivekananda's words, he is greater than me in spiritual experiences. And so, when the Sri Ramakrishna's devotees, disciples were organized, Swami Vivekananda made him as the president of the order. That is Rakhal Swami Brahmananda. Then Nitya Gopal is mentioned. And about him, not much is given here. Nitya Gopal was Ramchandra Datta's cousin brother. Andar Mausi, that means Nitya Gopal's mother also was sister of Rama's mother. And so we find Nitya Gopal staying very often in Rambabu's house. And with Rambabu, he came to Thakur several times. And Thakur told others two things about him. That he is Paramahamsa. His state is like a Paramahamsa. But he also added, but he does not belong here. And you people should not mix with him more. So, the ideology or the idea is not what we find in Sri Ramakrishna's ideas. That is how Sri Ramakrishna is to express, he does not belong here. Later on, he had taken sannyas like, and he had called himself Jnanananda Avadut. And he has left a lot of disciples. But spiritually advanced, Sri Ramakrishna loved him, liked him, praised him, only with the provision that it does not belong here, you should not mix with him. So this is Nitya Gopal. So these are the names mentioned, and we are trying to think about them. Ram, Manomohan, Rakhal, Nitya Gopal, and other devotees were with him, of which Master Mahasaya does not know the names or has not mentioned the names. M2 came as bidden by the master. So that is the connection. He has not talked of, he will not allow to come and all that. The devotees and the master sang and danced in a state of divine fervor. So this gives us 8 or 9 in the night or morning, you have to see. So Master Mahasaya wanted a song, and Thakur and devotees sang and danced in a state of divine fervor. So he got an additional something, dance. Now what is dance? And why the devotees dance? Dance is the expression of man's inner joy bubbling. When the inner joy bubbles up in man, he dances. And this dance is not the quotations dance. It is not to please the senses of man. It is to make you united with God, experience of God. And the whole science of dance in India has started from Shiva's dance. And Shiva would always be immersed in bliss, sometimes in samadhi, sometimes dancing out of joy. And that has the source of birth of this science of dance in India. And so, especially the Vaishnavas, especially who have this devotion as their sadhana, when that devotion gives them bliss, they cannot control themselves and they dance. So, song and dance. That is how we have to understand this dance. The devotees and the master sang and danced in a state of divine fervor. Several of them were in an ecstatic mood. That means the experience of bhav above this world, the subtler relation with God. That was the cause of the dance, and that was the result of that dance. So when that state grows, it is called Savikalpa Samadhi or Bhav Samadhi or Bhav. And that divine fervor due to Sri Ramakrishna was so much that some devotees also, many devotees, he says, several of them were in an ecstatic mood. Ecstatic mood means ecstatic samadhi, bhav samadhi. Nitya Gopal's chest glowed with the upsurge of emotion, feeling. And Rakhal lay on the floor in ecstasy. Different expressions are there. Completely unconscious of this world. So that is called samadhi. The master put his hand on Rakhal's chest. Master does not seem to have done anything to Nitya Gopal. But putting his hand on Rakhal's chest and said, "Peace, be quiet." In Bengali, Shanta ho, Shanta ho. So Thakur had command and mastery. Because of Thakur's bliss, they got this radiated. And chest means inside the chest we have our heart. And this feeling for God rises in the heart. And putting his hand on the chest, that means influencing the experience grown in the heart. Thakur is telling, be peaceful, be peaceful. Means this joy or blissful state should not throw you out of balance. That is the meaning of be peaceful. Let things be under your control. This was Rakhal's first experience of ecstasy. This also somewhere it is mentioned that this was the second experience. But that's not much important. It was an experience of early experience of Rakhal Maharaj seen by Master Mashi. He lived with this father. Now he is introducing Rakhal Maharaj to some extent. He lived with his father in Calcutta and now and then visited the master at Dakshineshwar. About this time, he had studied a short while in Vidyasagar school at Shampupur. That means Master Mashi must have seen him there. And for a few days means he could not continue his education. When the music was over, the devotees sat down for their meal. Prasad. Balaram stood there humbly like a servant. So this is about Balaram, another thing. We remember when Master Mashi asked how to live in the house, Thakur told him, like a maid servant in a rich man's house. And that rich man is God. Now Balaram had sufficient money, but he was not a rich man. And he did not appear he is the owner of that house. So Balaram is the model of this teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. As if he is serving the guests. Generally, when the guests are invited, a person is appointed to look after them. Like that it appears. So it proves two things. One is detachment from the house. And second is following Thakur's advice that I am the servant in this house. So that is Balaram. Nobody would have taken him for the master of the house. M was still a stranger to the devotees, having met only Narendra at Dakshineshwar. So he came to know the names, but he had not talked with them. And this much only we are getting about that day. And we are getting it because Master Mashi does not want to leave anything. And because Thakur had told him to come there, he had gone there. And he has heard Thakur singing and Balaram, and we got introduced to these different people. Now, one or two more incidents without date. A few days later, M visited the master at Dakshineshwar. So the chapter heading says, in the company of devotees, Balaram's house and Dakshineshwar. It was between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This time is proper. The master and he were sitting on the steps of the Shiva temples, looking at the temple of Radhakanta. You know, we have discovered many times, parallel to Ganges, near the Ganges, 12 Shiva temples are there. And at a little distance beyond the limits of that courtyard is Vishnu temple called Radhakanta temple. In the south extremity, we will get Mother's temple. So they are sitting on the steps of Shiva temple facing Radhakanta temple. Across the courtyard, the masters went into an ecstatic mood, and we find now and then Thakur entering Samadhi. Sometimes Bhava Samadhi, sometimes Nirvikalpa. Since his nephew Hriday's dismissal from the temple, Sri Ramakrishna had been living without an attendant. So we have to think of this as a little. Hriday was Sri Ramakrishna's nephew. That is his brother, his father's sister's
grandson,
son's son. Nephew. Nephew has to be Thakur's brother's son.
But Hriday used to call Mama. Hriday used to call Thakur as Mama.
Thakur is his mama, na? So, from Thakur if you start, and Thakur's mama if you go, Thakur's brother's sister, mother's sister, and sister's son will not make him as Thakur's mama. So, he is the son of that. Oh, yes. So, I correct a little. Thakur's brother's sister's daughter's son. Okay. So, Thakur's brother's sister is like Thakur's sister, daughter. Thakur's father's sister's daughter is like Thakur's sister. And her son is Hriday Ram. When Thakur came to Dakshineshwar at the age of 18 or 19, Hriday came there in search of a job at the age of 16. And he got so much attraction for Thakur without having any contemplative nature or bhav. And so, it was extremely useful to Thakur during his sadhana days. But due to Thakur's association, some bhava-like entered into him, bhava-like. And in that mood, he did something socially unacceptable. Socially. Mathur Babu, the manager of the temple, had a son Trailokya. And Trailokya's daughter. We know that they belong to very low caste. And Hriday Ram got hold of that small child and worshipped her feet as if she is a Devi. Now it is socially, if a higher caste man worships the lower caste man is doomed. And so out of anger, Trailokya Babu took this decision, you get out from here, never to enter the temple. Now in the divine dispensation, the period had come when he had started troubling Thakur instead of being helpful to him. And so without Thakur having to do something, the dispensation or the divinity managed this way that he was removed. That is the situation. Since his nephew Hriday's dismissal from the temple, Sri Ramakrishna had been living without an attendant. So Hriday was also attendant. On account of his frequent spiritual moods, he could hardly take care of himself. So attendant was unnecessary. The lack of an attendant caused him great inconvenience. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Kali, the Divine Mother of the Universe. He said, Mother, everyone says my... So that topic is given up there itself. We may infer that because of that Rakhal Maharaj used to stay now and then. And later on Thakur found Ramlal, his other nephew, came, and then Baburam started staying with him, Latu started staying with him, so that was the arrangement of the servants. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Kali, the Divine Mother of the Universe. He said, Mother, everyone says my watch alone is right. Watch here means my method of worshipping God is right. Yours is wrong. That is the general view taken by the devotees or dualists about. Why dualists? The so-called monastics also do like that. The Christians, the Brahmos, the Hindus, the Muslims all say my religion alone is true. Now here he has separated Brahmos from the Hindus. So Hindus means the orthodox traditional Hindus, and Brahmos is a reformatory movement. And Mohammedans, Christians. But mother, the fact is that nobody's watch is right. Because no conception of God is complete. That is why it is not right. Who can truly understand your real nature? So their watch is wrong. But if a man prays to thee with a yearning heart, he can reach thee through thy grace by any path. So instead of quarreling over the paths and telling my path only is true, real nature of Kali nobody will know. But let him travel by his own path. With devotion, he is sure to complete. So that is the Catholic or harmony idea of Sri Ramakrishna. Mother, show me sometime how the Christians pray to thee in their churches. So in Thakur's judgment, the Divine Mother herself is being worshipped by the Christians in their temple. But mother, what will people say if I go in? So if Thakur goes in a church, the Hindus may take objection and they may not allow him to do worship in the Kali temple. Thakur realized Christ without going to any church. So here people means the Orthodox Hindus. Suppose they make a fuss, suppose they don't allow me to enter the Kali temple again, that you have been polluted. Well then, show me the Christians worship from the door of the church. Thakur's solution. Thakur will do everything positively without coming into conflict with anybody. That is his way. He will not force. No, I shall go to church. How can you object? Not like that. Over. So short notes like. Then another day. Another day, the master was seated on the small couch in his room. Master means Thakur, huh? Small couch, you have known that, small bedsheet. With his usual beaming countenance. That we have seen, that always is beaming. M arrived with Kali Krishna, who did not know where his friend M was taking him. So, Kali Krishna should be explained. There is no footnote here. Huh? In Bengali, there is a footnote. Kali Krishna Bhattacharya later on was senior professor of Sanskrit in Vidyasagar College. So that is Kali Krishna. Kali Krishna is the name of Swami Vivekananda's disciple, Swami Vivekananda also. So you should not confuse at all. This is Kali Krishna, the professor, and who did not know where his friend M was taking him. He had only been told, if you want to see a grog shop, grog means wine shop, wine, then come with me. You will see a huge jar of wine there. M related this to Sri Ramakrishna, that I told like this to Kali Krishna, who laughed about it. He understood that it is intoxication. The master said, the bliss of worship and communion with God is the true wine. True wine. The wine of ecstatic love. The goal of human life is to love God. Now, throughout Gospel, we will find two statements about Thakur telling goal of life. The goal of life is to realize God. That we will get many often. But oftener than that, we will get this, that goal of life is to love God. So you have to think of the connection, the link. If you develop the love of God, one day you will surely realize God. So the ultimate goal may be realize God. But aim, as we say, is love of God, then the rest will come. So in fact, let us discuss this. We have discussed between love of God and God himself. But this is the only aim according to Thakur. Not according to Thakur. This is the only purpose of a human birth. Having realized, Thakur is advising them to others. What is the aim? Two types of aims we will see. One is decided by ourselves. I want to become a doctor. That is my aim. I want to become an engineer. I want to sadhu. After becoming that, do you feel your life is fulfilled? So, aim conceived by human beings can never be the real aim. But there is a real aim. If you love God, if you realize God, then there nothing remains in life to be achieved. No more pain will disturb you. You will be eternally in bliss and you will feel, I have fulfilled my purpose of life. We give an example here. Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, Swami Saradananda, was a sober man. He was very much self-controlled. He was standing on a railway platform waiting for some train. His sevak thought that Maharaj has gone too close to the edge. And he says, Maharaj, you are going too close to the edge. Please be careful, please come back. Sadhana Swamiji said, what will happen? If I go to the edge, what will happen? He said, you may fall down, Maharaj. Suppose I fall down, what will happen? He said, that engine is coming, it will crush your body. Suppose the engine crushes my body, what is that to me? And there he uses this sentence. I have done what is to be done in life. I have achieved what has to be achieved in life. Let the engine crush me. This alone can be called the aim of life. I have done what is to be done in life. I have achieved what has to be achieved in life. No, even if the engine crushes me, what is that? So such a state is possible. Such a state can only be the aim of life. So Thakur is telling that. And through love it will happen, so love of God. The bliss of worship and communion with God is the true wine, the wine of ecstatic love. The goal of human life is to love God. Bhakti is the one essential thing. Please remember all those who are addicted to so-called knowledge. Bhakti itself gives you knowledge. Knowledge is not book learning. Knowledge is the experience of God, which comes, as we have seen, in a particular state of the mind. And that state of the mind is easily achieved by bhakti. We have seen that Thakur has asked Master Maharaj how many annas of knowledge I have. So it is not against knowledge that he is talking about bhakti. One thing is, for him they are not different. One thing is through bhakti itself you can get. Now there is a famous statement by Sri Ramakrishna that the pure devotion and pure knowledge is the same thing. Pure. The use of the word pure tells us that there is a lot of impure knowledge. And there is a lot of impure bhakti. So the knowledge, impure, we find in non-Vedantic philosophies, or that type of Vedanta where God is only the transcendent reality. And the best example is Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is dualism. Nature is unconscious and separately real than me. I am consciousness separate than nature. And there are many like me. That is a Sankhya philosophy in short. This is knowledge, but impure knowledge. Then the Vedantis. God is only transcendent. This is knowledge, but impure knowledge. Bhakti, they don't want to even listen to the transcendental aspect of God. The jnanis may think that this immanent aspect is lower, but the bhaktas do not want even to hear the transcendent aspect of God. They think that destroys devotion. So that is impure love. So what is pure love? When God has become everything, we love God. And through loving God, we realize that God alone is true. World as it appears is not true. It is real because its real nature is God. Now it has become pure devotion. And when knowledge is pure, give up Sankhya, even the Vedanta who is only transcendental. Then the world is false. World is false makes it, I told someday, negatively real. So that is impure knowledge. But what I am calling as the reality at the back itself appears as the world. Now it has become pure knowledge. Now what is the difference between knowledge and devotion? No difference, but the difference of approach. When through all-pervading nature of God, we reach the transcendent aspect of God, this is devotion. And if through the transcendent aspect of God we realize that God is immanent also, it is knowledge. So the two sets of mind, knowledge is analytical, knowledge proceeds along tarka buddhi, analysis, but the love has to be there. And nothing to do with the world because it is unreal. But it will become full only the world is realized. But the approach is like this. And the devotee's approach is love God. Don't care whether the world is real or unreal. And we'll realize that God himself is the world. World is not separately real. So the approach of heart, love, but not stopping till the goal is reached is real devotion. So the final experience of both of them is same. But the approaches are different, that's why the names are different. And this is what Thakur's harmony preaches. The goal of human life is to love God. Bhakti is the one essential thing. To know God through jnana and reasoning is extremely difficult. That is another point. If the world is unreal, our body is equally unreal. And we should transcend the body consciousness on the first day. Then only you can proceed in knowledge. And so, through jnana and reasoning is extremely difficult. Not impossible. There are strong minds like that and they do. Then the master sang. We know that by singing he enforces something. Who is there that can understand what Mother Kali is? Even the 6 darshanas are powerless to reveal her. In India, the different approaches to God have been divided into 6 schools of philosophy. That is called the darshanas. We'll talk about it next time. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibireditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanam.